right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone, and happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. I know my father, Pat, is always on my mind, even though we lost him 9 years ago. But I always think about you, Dad, and happy Father's Day up there in heaven. 412-575-2600 is the number to call. Bob Pompeani with you until 11 o'clock, and we're talking a lot of Pittsburgh sports today, including the U.S. Open, which ended today in dramatic fashion when J.J. Spaun put in a 65-foot shot. He didn't have to really make that putt. He needed 2 putts to win, but he decided to put it down there close, and it's a little faster than you think, even with all the rain they had. It went all the way into the hole, which is a tremendous way to cap his week. And all you need to do if you want to win a major is putt well. Nobody had better statistics putting than J.J. Spaun. He had a lot of fairways also. If you stay out of the rough, you can win events. It's as simple as that, especially when the rough is this high, this dense, this wet. Over the last couple of days. 401 feet of made putts for J.J. Spaun. Think about that. That's how many he had. Today on the back nine, 3 bombs, including one on 12, one on 15, and then one on 18. He shot a 32 on the back nine, the best back nine score in a U.S. Open major at Oakmont since Johnny Miller shot 31 in 1973. So that's saying something. And Spaun goes on to win first major of his career. He was steady all the way through this thing. And it's amazing when you think about where he was ranked, what the expectations were coming in. You're sure he opened up with a 66 in the first round, but a lot of people thought that wouldn't last. Well, not only did it last, but he was knocking all the way through this. And as I said in the sportscast there, I thought the key point for him was on number 2. He had 93 yards, another beautiful drive right down the middle of the fairway. It's a short par 4 up the hill. He put it off the flagstick. Could have gone in for a 2, but his bad luck on that hole made that ball hit the flagstick and then go all the way back 49 more yards into the middle of the fairway where he had to chip again, and he still didn't let that rattle him. A lot of golfers, as you saw today, if you watch this, were rattled on that Oakmont Country Club course. There's no question. It's thick, it's deep, it's all the things that can happen that can go bad there went bad for a lot of golfers. Most everyone went backwards. He and Robert McIntyre were the only 2 that went forward on the back nine. Again, McIntyre, good story there. He was 9 shots back after he bogeyed number 1 and number 3. He comes all the way back, shoots 4 under the rest of the way, and finished in a second place finish all by himself, the runner-up. And that's good for about $3+ million. So he made some money today just on not giving in to the conditions there. He kept grinding away. There were some golfers who were clearly affected by this place. We saw Rory McIlroy. We saw Shane Lowry. We saw Terrell Hatton at the end. And this is where I blame Hatton. If he has a complaint, it should be with his driving. If you're going to go to 17, which again was a key spot, I thought, for J.J. Spaun, he drove that ball right in the middle of the green up the hill on 17. He didn't have to do that. He could have laid up, played it conservatively. And even when you do that, you still have a better chance, in my opinion, of making a birdie there. But he decided he was going to let it all fly. And at the time, he was still in the lead, but he goes... he was tied for the lead. He goes on to that green and 1, putting for eagle, 2 putts for birdie, and then, of course, what happened at 18 where he birdied again. So he finished birdie. But Hatton, had to do the same thing. He felt he wanted to drive the green and give himself a chance at an eagle. He missed, and when you miss, there are a lot of things that can hurt you out there, and that's what happened in this day. Love to hear from you about what happened at the U.S. Open at Oakmont. I thought it was fascinating. I know some people think it's unfair. It's not unfair. If you look at previous U.S. Open winners at Oakmont, final scores similar. We saw, +5 win. We've seen even par win. We've seen -4 win. We've also seen +11 and +13 win. That was back in 1927 and 1935. I think since then it's not been that bad, but it's still consistent with other winning scores at Oakmont. Also want to give a shout out to Michael McCormick. He's the Oakmont superintendent. He got the prestigious E.J. Marshall winning presentation today, a platter that comes with his efforts. And you got to give, a nod to all those people out there who were working on that grounds crew over the last 2 days, what they had to do to get that course ready with all the rain that came, a record amount of rain over the past how many weeks here in Pittsburgh and Allegheny County. They had it going, and congrats to him for what he did. We'll talk about that. Well, let's talk to Pirates' continued lack of hitting. It's cost Mitch Keller quite a bit. It's also maybe in a position where it's going to cost Paul Skeens a shot at winning a Cy Young. I don't think so. I still think he's my choice to win it, but his record's only 4-6. Do voters let that impact their decision? We'll talk about that and more. Call right now at 412-575-2600. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We're live right here, KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan. All right, this is our Xfinity tweet of the night from the Golf Channel. It goes to show you how a player who came so close back in March at the TPC Players Championship, he lost in a playoff to Rory McIlroy, but he learned a lot. And fast forward now to June 15th on Father's Day, father of two, J.J. Spaun is your champion, and I think that experience certainly helped him, but he is your winner at the 125th U.S. Open at Oakmont. 412-575-2600. We also have a Williams Golf question of the night, our poll question of the night at kdka.com/connect, and it's about the golfer who won today, J.J. Spaun. Will he win another major? It's difficult to do, as you saw today, how the ups and downs and the trials and tribulations that can happen over the course of a major golf championship, in particular this one, which is the hardest, I believe, of all of them to win, and he did it. Can he win another? Yes or no? Let us hear from you. 412-575-2600. Again, Paul Skeens, my question to you tonight, and we'll talk about this on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown with Andrew Filipponi and Brian Batko. Is he still going to win a Cy Young? He was favored to do so at the beginning of the year, but the hitting has certainly affected his play in terms of his record. He's 4-6, but you can make an argument that he could have 14 wins by now based on how he's pitched with his ERA and all the other metrics involved. I think voters will look beyond the record. Never before has a starting pitcher won with a sub-500 record. This would be the first if it continues, and hopefully it won't continue. Hopefully the bats will come to life as they move forward. All right, let's go to the lines. We got Chuck in Uniontown first up tonight. Hello, Chuck. How are you?
Good evening. First of all, Bob, happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, although I'm single.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure about that. It's always hard to say back to you if I don't know. So, yeah, but thank you. I appreciate it, Chuck.
Anyway, Bob, do you think the Pirates have paid enough attention to hitting over the past few? That they paid too much attention to pitching? I know pitching is extremely important. But do you think they should have paid more attention to hitting the last few years?
Oh, yeah.
They don't have any producers in the system at all.
No, and this is going to be the challenge at the trade deadline and then into the offseason. And thanks, Chuck, for the call. I will say this. They'll look back, and as I said before, when they look at the autopsy, it's going to say total lack of regard for hitting. They didn't go out and do anything to help a pitching staff that they knew was going to be a good pitching staff. I think next year potentially could be a better pitching staff than what we saw this year with Chandler coming up, Jones returning at some point through his injury. I think he's been encouraged by Mike Burrows. I think Braxton Ashcraft has been terrific when he's been in there. There's every reason to think that they're going to be better. So therefore, go out and spend some money. This is directed at Bob Nutting and how he allocates money to Ben Cherington. But yeah, it's been, and this whole thing could be averted. It could be they could be in a situation where they're contending for a wild card minimum this year if they had some better pitching, but they don't. Let's go to, or better hitting, I should say. Joseph in New Brighton is on the line next. What's up, Joseph? How are you?
Yeah, Bob, I'm good. You?
Good, thanks. What's up?
Great finish to the U.S. Open, but no, I wanted to say some people say it's unfair. Me and a few of my buddies, we went out to Ohio. Boardman played Mill Creek a couple weeks ago. Donald Ross design, very challenging, wet conditions. So bad when we made the turn, we decided to team up for a two-man scramble on the back nine.
Well, listen, everyone's playing the same golf course, essentially, right? I mean, on the first 2 days, you'll get a morning tee time, then an afternoon. You know, sometimes luck's involved, which one of those you get based on the weather. But on the last two rounds here, the weather has been similar. It's been muddy. The rough is deep. You know that. And all these guys, Scheffler can blame two things. Number one, his driving was not as accurate as it should have been. Number two, he missed too many 5-foot putts. You can look at what happened, if you want, on 15 with Sam Burns. He was calling for relief, free drop from what he thought was casual water. They chose not to give it to him. All right. That doesn't mean you have to go on and take a double bogey, but he did. Again, I'll go back to Spaun on number two. He had that shot off the pin. That's a terrible, terrible luck right there. And yet what he did was maintain his composure, continue to play and grind, and look what he did at the end of it. So give yourself a chance. There's no sense complaining about it like so many guys seem to have done. It's the U.S. Open. It's going to be difficult. Some would say the U.S. Open tries to make it too difficult. I think in Shinnecock Hills in 2018 it was. And then guess where they're playing next year? 2026 at Shinnecock Hills. Let's go to Randy in West End. What's up, Randy? How are you?
Hey, Bob. Good evening.
Good evening,
I just
Randy.
wanted to say that being a lifetime golfer, it was a pleasure to watch the pros struggle today and all weekend at Oakmont. I think making the course tough brings them down to our level of golfer. And I'll tell you, I enjoyed the weekend. I know they were talking to themselves. They were throwing clubs. I loved it. What was your opinion on that?
Well, I don't think they brought them down to our level. I think, it makes them realize that you got to be pinpoint accurate. Listen, the USGA is doing one thing. They're trying to identify the best ball striker, the best manager, and the best putter, right? You got to have all those things working for you if you're going to win the U.S. Open. It ain't going to be easy. Again, is look at the scores over the years at this event. It's always been right around even, couple under, couple over, whatever the case may be. You know what you're in store for, but you can't make excuses. It is a war of attrition, and you got to maintain composure. I thought J.J. Spaun did that better than anyone today, and I also thought Robert McIntyre, after his start today, could have just mailed it in. He didn't. He kept grinding, never knowing what could happen. That's the attitude you got to have. John in Cranberry is up next. Hello, John. How are you?
Hey, Bob. Happy Father's Day. And,
You too, if it applies.
Congratulations. I saw you're going to be a grandfather again. That's fantastic.
Looking forward to that. Thank you very much.
So I was going to call about golf, and I still wanted to mention that was a shot for the ages by J.J. Spaun at 65. I still can't believe he made this shot. But I'll switch it up, Bob, from golf, because you answered. I was going to ask you about Sam Burns, but you just explained it about that challenge. But I wanted to also talk quickly about T.J. McConnell and the Pacers.
Yeah.
I saw a stat the other day. He's the first player in NBA Finals to come off the bench with 10 points, 5 assists, and 5 steals in a game. It's just an amazing accomplishment what he has been able to do in the NBA. And I wanted to get your feelings on to see if you still think they can pull it out against the against Oklahoma City.
Yeah, John, I think they can. I think Oklahoma City's a better team. I've said that from the beginning. I still expect OKC to win this series, but T.J. McConnell, I think what he did, and you described it well, 10, 5, and 5, the 5 steals were ridiculous. He did it all in like 13 minutes off the bench. He's been a spark plug for that team. They know it when he gets in there. He's very good with his vision. And sometimes I wonder why they let him so wide open to shoot. He still can make those threes when given an opportunity. But I just think OKC is too deep. Now, on the same note, if I look at the Edmonton Oilers and Florida Panthers last night, I saw Brad Marchand do some magical things out there. What a trade that was at the deadline. I still think Edmonton's going to come back and win the next game in Florida. Now, you would argue and say, well, no, they're going to do that. Panthers are going to win at home, make it back-to-back. They're favored to do that. But I wouldn't underestimate Edmonton. They've been in this situation. Their biggest situation right now is trying to figure out which goalie starts. Is it Stuart Skinner or not? And if it isn't, Calvin Pickard's good. He's 7-1 in these playoffs. But the last game, I'm not going to blame him exclusively, but there were some shots I thought he could have prevented. So that'll be interesting. But I do expect a Game 7 in that one. Let's go to Bart in Newcastle. What's up, Bart? How are you?
Good. How are you, Bob?
Good, thanks. What's up, man?
That was the greatest golf I've ever watched.
I'm glad you said that because I've had a lot of people tell me that they didn't think it would be that way. So Bart, I agree with you. I think it was awesome. And, listen, you don't always have to have 30 under par to win. I think you start getting a birdie barrage, it just lessens the impact of the birdie. Birdies mean something out here. Pars mean something out here. No question about it. You have to value that. You have to value your management of a game when things aren't going well. That's what tests you ultimately. It is a mental grind, and you need to be up for it. And that's what they're trying to identify. And this week, nobody had a better mental outlook than J.J. Spaun. John in Canonsburg. Hello, John. How are you?
Hey, Bob. Always enjoyed the show.
Thanks.
What a memorable U.S. Open. The fact that he came back like he did after that rain delay, and there were so many guys that were within a few shots of the lead there on the back nine, and he just kept his cool and really showed what a good golfer he is.
Yeah, and listen, he's one of those guys who's been out there. Some would call him a journeyman. He's grinding. He has one PGA Tour win, but again, back to our tweet of the night, that experience he had at the TPC Players Championship where he had to go head-to-head with Rory McIlroy in a playoff, and it didn't go his way. I think he learned a lot from that. Sometimes you have to lose that way before you start winning in bigger ways, and I think that applies to J.J. Spaun. Just a tremendous champion. It was great to see his wife and 2 kids there on this Father's Day. I'm sure it's very special for all fathers in that field who were trying to do something for their dads. Well, he accomplished it, and what a situation it was. And again, my compliments to the USGA for running in a tremendous event. I don't think anyone does it better in big-time sports than the USGA when it comes to executing a plan. I also want to congratulate John Lynch, the president of Oakmont, his entire staff, Lou Costello, who is the tournament director, Mike McCormick, Devin Gee, all those guys. They put in so many long hours. Their staff, man, they don't sleep this whole week. Really, they don't. And they're going to have some crash time coming up, I think, soon. But kudos on a job well done. We'll take a break, come back with more. Again, we have the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown tonight, 11:35 KDKA. We'll take those calls when we return right here on KDKA Plus. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.